What's going on, people? As you can see in the title of my video, we're going to be talking about that vicious knockout of Jake Paul in the 6th round of Friday night's fight. I'm going to keep it brief, I promise. I'm going to keep this to 5 to 10 minutes or less. But as I said at the end of my last video, I didn't cover this fight because I don't like covering these type of fights. To me, it's a circus, a carnival, a spectacle. It's there to keep people's attention, something to do on a boring Friday or Saturday night, but not anything to be taken seriously. And I have 4 different things on my list I wanted to talk about. And the first thing is there's levels to boxing. And we've seen the rise of the YouTube and influencer boxing circle, including the fight between Andrew Tate and Chase Demore, which was a crap show as well. But, I mean, starting with the McGregor and Mayweather fight almost a decade ago now, leading all the way up to this. I mean, we have more and more of these influencers coming out in boxing, and if they're fighting each other, then that's cool. You know, the skill level is even. They both want to see who's the best in the ring. Allow them to have at it in the ring and see who's the best. And to me, that's entertaining, right? Because everything's in proper context. They're not claiming to be the best boxer of all time or undefeated and a serious threat in the heavyweight division or cruiserweight division. No, like everybody is, they are tapped into reality. There's no delusion. And there's a lot of delusion in fighters like Jake Paul. And I want to preface this first by saying, as critical as I've been of Jake Paul, I'll give the man credit where credit is due. One, as a promoter, I'm a huge fan of him because without him, fighters like Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor would have never gotten an opportunity to get the big bucks and to be seen on the big stage. Like, nobody would have known their names. And now they've had a trilogy fight at this point. And people will be talking about, well, second 2-3 fights. I lose track sometimes, but either way, they are household names now because of Jake Paul. And the fact that even though he was fighting people who weren't really boxers like Serrano and Taylor were getting their shine on the undercard. I love that for people like that. And he showed Amanda Serrano a lot of love and really, I think, got her an opportunity to fight a Katie Taylor that she otherwise may not have gotten. So I really respect Jake Paul for that. And if he's watching this, just know that I definitely respect you for that. Where I'm critical of you, Jake Paul, is you didn't go about it the right way because there's levels to this. There's no way that he should have been in the ring with Anthony-Joshua or a fighter of his caliber on Friday night. He's not. I don't have an issue with him because he's facing lower competition. Because truth be told, that's what all boxers do to a certain extent when they're starting out. That's par for the course. I'm not knocking him for that. But when you're fighting other YouTubers or former basketball stars like Nate Robinson, MMA fighters like Tyron Woodley, who was retired and was not at the top of his game even when he retired from the octagon, and then a guy like Ben Askren, who he was bad with his stand-up game even by MMA standards. Like, he had no hands. So what the world was he going to do in the boxing ring, even with an amateur? So it's like, it's nothing wrong with fighting those guys, but stop treating them like they're Muhammad Ali or Sugar Ray Leonard or Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao or Terrence Crawford, so on and so forth. They're right. It's the insult to the intelligence that is really annoying. And then to be brash and obnoxious on top of that, I get you want to play the heel, but this isn't the WWE. This is real life, and this is not WWE. It's not baseball. It's not football. It's not hockey. It's not basketball. This is boxing, and you can't play boxing. As much as people want to try to play the whole prank game in this culture that we have now, and hee and ha ha, when you step into that ring, there's certain people that you can't buy, you cannot sway, you cannot reason with. Anthony-Joshua being one of those people. See, Jake Paul thought it was a joke when he was at the press conference and the weigh-in and the final face-off, tongue out like, hey, I'm going to knock out Joshua. Anthony-Joshua, like, in his heart of hearts, he's not worried about none of that. When you've been in the ring and I have firsthand experience with this. When you see people who are not as capable or not as experienced, what is there to be concerned with? You just go in there and treat them like any other opponent and look to get them up out of there. And you're not going to be swayed by the antics or the theatrics. So, you know, he got into that ring. How? Because he had money, clout, and fame. See, with Ryan Garcia, he has all those things, but he actually has skill. Like, he's been doing this for an extremely long time. So people with Ryan Garcia, love him or hate him, he is a phenomenal boxer. A little bit unpolished at times, but a phenomenal boxer. Jake Paul is not on that level. So it's like, how did you get there? You didn't have to fight 10, 20 guys before you got a shot at a world title, let alone somebody like Anthony Joshua. You didn't have to get ranked by the WBC or the WBA or the IBF or the WBO. No, you just skipped the line of all these other boxers who've been fighting since childhood, some of them, who've like put blood, sweat, and tears and really put the work in, and you just cut in line in front of all of them. It's hard for people who are actual boxing fans to respect that. Maybe some of the casual fans, they're like, oh, well, you know what? It was cool. He got in the ring. He had them. No, like, forget all that. You didn't get in there based off of merit, so why are you there? And the outcome is reflective of the reason why you should not have been there, because you didn't get there off of your own merit. And which brings me to my next point number 3, which is integrity. A lot of people, they say if the price is right, it's all right. If the price is right, it's all right. It's not. There's no amount of money. Like, a lot of people are saying, whether it's in the comment sections on social media like Instagram and YouTube, or whether it's on shows on like ESPN and so on and so forth. People are saying, oh, well, for $92 million, I get my jaw broke too. Why? Like, you have to, 1, live with the fact that you lost in a very bad way. 2, you're getting a significant surgery, because I've been looking at boxing for a very long time. I've been looking at MMA for a very long time. I don't know if I can remember somebody who's gotten their jaw broken, not in 1, but 2 places on the opposite side of the jaw. That's unheard of. And then 3, you have long-term brain damage that you have to worry about. People are not talking about that. They're just talking about the broken jaw and the lost teeth. He's probably going to lose a few teeth, if not up to 7, because they're attached at the root. And once you cause trauma there, you have to start worrying about those things. But the long-term brain injury is what you have to worry about. You may not see that the night of the fight, or the day after when he's in the hospital, or a week after surgery, but a couple months after, a year after, years down the line. When you get hit like that, the brain doesn't just bounce around and then just be okay all the time. Sometimes that can cause a significant injury. And for all we know, he might have been concussed when he was given that talk after the fight. I've seen a lot of concussed fighters. I would not be surprised. Even the ones that are like aware and cognizant, like he knew his jaw was broken, they don't mean you're not concussed. So is your long-term health worth the wealth? Like, what good is $92 million if you have dementia by the time you're 50? Like, if you were to keep going about doing this, right? You wouldn't even be able to appreciate that money you have. I mean, these are people, they just don't think long-term. And that brings me to my 4th point, the long-term concerns. And I haven't gone into the injury comprehensively enough to give you a really detailed breakdown of like what truly happened down to an anatomical level, and what the prognosis or outcome is going to be for him once he's out of surgery. But what I can tell you is that if you have your jaw broken, that is already a red flag for any boxer moving forward. Now, to have it broken in 2 spots, that's crazy, because he's talking about, you know, I'm going to take time off, which he should, rest up, and then come back and try to make a campaign at cruiserweight. Not only are you going to have your license suspended by whatever boxing commission you were under, which I think may or may not have happened already. It's usually about 3 to 6 months just to force the fighter to take time off so they don't come back too soon. But what happens when he comes back? Because he's getting a titanium plate put in both sides. That's what happened during the surgery. What happens if those plates are in a place where you can catch direct impact from the fist on the screws on the plates that are put in? No doctor is going to clear you to fight if they know that after they release you, or when you want to come back and fight and they go through your medical records and find that out, they may just reject your license. Like you may never be able to fight again, even if on the surface you look completely healthy. Let alone if you truly do have damage that you don't want to admit that will put you at risk if you do get back in that ring. So I think that from my standpoint, everybody should take this as a learning lesson. Do I think that he got what he had coming to him? Absolutely. Am I jumping for joy that he got hurt? No. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to see nobody get hurt. It doesn't matter if I find you annoying, obnoxious, or I feel as though you didn't get there based off your own merit. I don't want to see people get hurt in the ring, because after all the lights are off and everybody's done making their memes and laughing, that man's got to go home to his family and possibly have to deal with very long-term damage to his brain. And that is not no funny shit, man. I'm telling you right now, there's nothing funny about that. Because, you know, when you're walking down the hall and then, you know, your eyesight goes blank out of nowhere, you know, that's not something you ever had to deal with before. If you're walking down the street and then all of a sudden you get disoriented and you don't know where it's coming from, or you have like light sensitivity, all these different things people don't talk about when you get a concussion. I haven't had one, you know, God, you know, thank God, knock on wood. But those are the things that I've seen people go through, or I've heard about people go through. And people that have concussions will tell you that. That's what happens. That's you know, anytime you see your favorite quarterback in football, if you're an NFL fan, take a big hit, they have to go through concussion protocol. And a lot of times those guys will have headaches, light sensitivity, can't sleep, feeling nauseous, all these different things that none of us hear. We just see that they're on the injury report. We don't see all these things these dudes are going through behind the scenes. What happens if you have like women's soccer, right? And somebody's running down the field and somebody kicks the ball really hard and they take a shot to the head. We don't hear about the women that have to go through that are sitting at home, you know, maybe possibly with family, and the family seeing all these symptoms. Like, we don't see that part. So, like, I think Jake Paul should really evaluate what he's going to do moving forward. I wish him the best in terms of his health. And I think his team needs to be real, because his manager came out and he was saying in the post-fight press conference, oh, you know, Jake Paul's, his gas tank ran out, and that's why, you know, he lost, because the skill was even. It's just that he got tired. Like, I don't know if he's just trying, if that's PR or whatever, but if he really believes that, it's just men like him that are in his ear propping him up. That would be the same type of people that send his ass back into war, only to make things worse by losing to somebody or getting hit in that same spot. So, I would say for Jake Paul, reevaluate the people that are around you, because not every decision is, you shouldn't, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. I'm going to say that again for the people in the background that didn't hear. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. And with that, I'm going to read the comments here. Shout out to Stevie Franks. Appreciate you being in the room. What up, cuz? Jackie Brown, appreciate you being here. And everybody else is here that hasn't popped up on my feed, on my notifications. But Steve says, boxing is more based on entertainment now instead of the art of fighting. Absolutely true. And Jake Paul looked like he was rethinking his entire career. And I don't think at any point Jake Paul thought that he would become the meme, not of the year, not just of the year, but he's a meme to end the first quarter century of the 2000s. 2025 is the end of the first quarter century, and at the very tail end of that quarter century, we have a memeable picture of him awaiting the death blow from Anthony Joshua. Like, he's seen the Reaper. He's seen the Reaper multiple times in that fight, but that was, I've seen the Reaper face if ever I've seen one. What's going on, cuz? Truly, man, I mean that. But, you know, that's my thoughts on the fight. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Those of you that aren't here on the live stream, when I post this up on YouTube, let me know what y'all think of the fight. Frank's laughing. And with that, I have to look this fight up. I don't think it happened yet. I hope it hasn't. But the fight I'm really interested in is Inoue, and I can't remember his opponent's name. Please forgive me. And this is directed at the opponent. Please forgive me, as well as the people watching this stream. But trust and believe, I looked up his highlights, and this is going to be a very interesting fight. Because everybody's talking about Junto Nakatani. I think that Inoue is going to win this fight, but this guy's a live wire. That's all I'm going to say. This dude's a live wire. I don't think he's going to win, but he does have the potential to screw up the plans between Junto and Inoue. I promise you, he has the potential for that. So I just think that he's a little bit too raw on the defensive end, but offensively, he can put the punches together. I'll be getting to that fight on another video. With that being said, I'm gonna end this off talking about the Eagles. Eagles clinched the NFC East today. Earlier on Saturday, NFC East champions. The Cowgirls are out of there. I mean, they were done once we won anyway, but you know what it is. F them. All day to the day I die, to the grave. Park Ave, man. Cowboys, I don't know why they put themselves through this every year. You know what the end conclusion is going to be. Like Stephen A. Smith says, just give it time. Give it time. Not only that, but we won the division title back-to-back. And that hasn't happened for any team in the NFC East since 2004. Andy Reid's heyday. 2003 and 2004. You remember 2004 we had T.O. Them times. And no other team, Giants, Cowboys, Commanders, they haven't won it back-to-back. So we're making history. And I think that we're heating back up right at the right time. There are still things to clean up. Don't get it wrong. But I like what they did yesterday. And Saquon got going. And, dude, the one run he had a couple of them. But the one run he had, the 12-yard touchdown run, welcome back, brother. Welcome back. Because that Commanders team, they were looking like they wanted to stay alive. Because those who don't know, in the NFC East, the Commanders, the Cowboys, the Giants, they could be 0-14. But when they play the Eagles, they will play them like it's the Super Bowl. Right? And that goes for us too. When we're trash, when we used to be trash, we would play the Giants or the Cowgirls like it was Game 7 of the NBA Finals against Michael Jordan. Right? Just because that's the rivalry. So we were able to beat them. And then at the end of the game, we went for a 2-point conversion. And from my viewpoint, I think it was excessive. We were starting to really stomp them at that point. You know, it's 27-10, something like that. You ain't got to go for the 2-point conversion there. You rubbing it in. And to no surprise, there was a melee after it. And Tyler Steen, salute to you, man. You was in there throwing them bows. It looked like a mosh pit, buddy. And, you know, him and 2 other players got ejected. But, look, we went in there and we did what we were supposed to do. We did what we were supposed to do. It was a little sketchy in the first half, but we dominated. Mariota got nicked up, and we did what we were supposed to do. So Cowboys are out, and now we're in the playoffs, obviously. We can get no lower than the 3rd seed. And I don't know what happens now that the Bears won, because the Bears won their game, and then the Lions lost to the Steelers. So now I think the Bears have clinched their playoff spot, but I don't know how that affects our road to the 2nd or possibly 1 seed. But I'll talk about that in my prediction video when we have this game coming up against the Bills. That's going to be a big game. So we're going to see how this thing's going to shake up, man, because I think the Eagles, with the philosophy change, the fresh play calls on offense, I think that they're able to make a run again. How far? We don't know yet. We'll give it like 2 more weeks so I can really feel confident about what I'm seeing out of Patullo and Sirianni. But they are headed in the right direction. And A.J. Brown's route tree on the next gen stats, you saw all these squiggly lines. Over here, going over the middle of the field, over here. Finally. And they moved your man to the slot finally. Like they figured out they can use A.J. Brown in the slot. Wouldn't you know? But I really like what I saw, and then congratulations to the Eagles, man. Let's try to run it back this year. With that being said, thank you all for tuning in. I'm gonna go get some food and relax and just wind down the weekend. I hope y'all stay safe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.